Yanomami originary people, they have some words that are very interesting, some expressions. They do not distinguish between fear and respect. When you say, do you respect your mother? He would say more properly, he would say, I fear my mother. I comply with your idea, independent of your possibility of hitting me back. And the Yanomamis don't make that distinction. And the second they don't make a distinction of is laziness from exhaustion. Being lazy is pretty much the same thing as being exhausted, being tired. Hello everyone, thank you very much for joining us in this new video of ours. And we are now in the middle of a series of videos dealing with switching up attitudes, upgrading our attitudes toward ourselves, improving our capacity, our abilities to cope with emotions, with our changes, inner changes, and how to put all that to work in benefit of our psychological well-being, of our quality of life. And today we are going to spend some time within this series. So we decided to put this video in where we have a couple of words about laziness and fear, because these two things are experiences we have when we practice. We practice a program of health, we are going to a fitness program, we are taking part in running, jogging, we are reading good books, we're trying to find literature that can somehow improve and nurture our inner nature. All these things, all these initiatives, or even mindfulness, of course, all these initiatives, they must be seen, which we call skillful means. Skillful means to get in contact with ourselves, to be in contact, to inhabit, to dwell in our own existence. These initiatives, they come up against a few hindrances, and that's what we are dealing with in this series. Later on at the end of the series, we're going to see that maybe the hindrances is not so hindering as we imagine them. They might have a good reason for being and good use for them. But for now, we're going to just spend some time talking about something that has always called my attention. I had the opportunity of being in the 90s, late 80s. I had the opportunity of remaining for 10 days with a group of Yanomami natives. Up in the Amazon basin, right at the top, at Roraima, just exactly where you have those masses of people from Venezuela trying to enter Brazil or entering Brazil. Right there, not exactly there, but a few hours away from there, lays this village. This, we call it aldeia in Portuguese. It's a village, it's a small inhabitation. A small dwelling right in the middle of the forest. And then these Yanomamis, they're different to other ones. You might listen, you might hear something about Yanomamis. Usually they are more southern groups. This one is very far away, detached up in the north of the country, above the equator. And for those of you who are acquainted with Brazil, you would know that above the equator is a very small amount of our territory. We are way down into the southern tropics. But anyway, what we have is the following. The Yanomami originary people, they have some words that are very interesting, some expressions. Like, it called my attention right in the beginning. They do not distinguish between fear and respect. When you say, do you respect your mother? He would say more properly, he would say, I fear my mother. The idea of respect, like I abide in your will, despite of the possibility you can punish me. I comply with your idea, independent of your possibility of hitting me back. So we have respect for dead people who obviously cannot do too much harm. We might show respect in respect to other people who live and consider the dead person someone to be revered. But we don't need to be scared of someone or scared of the consequences to have respect. And the Yanomamis don't make that distinction. And a couple of expressions they don't make a distinction of is laziness from exhaustion. Being lazy is pretty much the same thing as being exhausted, being tired. So you meet him and say, listen man, could you help me here carry this box? He'll say, oh, I'm sorry, I am lazy right now. He just woke up. He's well, he's nourished, he just doesn't want to help, he's lazy. Now he's just back from a hunting sprout, and where they remained for 20 hours in the woods, and sometimes that happens. They do that. They have sugar cane planted within the forest in their hunting trials because they can go there, cut the cane, and get some food, get some nourishing while they're hunting, because they can stay for a very, very stretched, very, very long period at once. Very, very poor planning, by the way, but they can remain for 20 hours sometimes in the forest, in the woods. And so he's just back from one of these wonderful huntings, and he's broken. He's burst in pieces. You say, listen, could you help me? He says, I'm sorry, I'm lazy. It's the same word. There is no difference between being lazy and being tired. There is no difference between being respectful or being fearful. They say, well, what's the point here? Why are you coming with this mini, phony, anthropologic approach here in the videos? Because of the following. They don't deal with the idea of a duty like we deal with it. We have our marriage is nuclear. So it's one wife, one husband, and that's it. And then you have the children. That's a family. That was instituted in the Neolithic, although some people like to think that started off in the Middle Ages or the bourgeois, but that's completely wrong. It's a prehistoric Neolithic agreement that was being adopted by practically all civilizations. But these, and the Yanomami are one of them, who remain with the idea of which is, there's a husband, there's a wife. The husband has sexual access to all his sisters-in-law, and the wife has access to all her brothers-in-law. Consequently, when a woman gets pregnant, she is pregnant, and it's a little bit, they consider it's a little bit from each brother. And they don't have the biological conception, one male, one female, forget it. They're completely away from that. They think it's a mix, it's a blend of several fathers. But the only one who gets called father is the woman's husband. He's the only father in question. But they do have this belief that the origin of the conception is in a group. Now, this points to the fact that they have a different way of dealing with the idea of duty. But that put me to think that the only difference between what we call laziness and we call exhaustion is our duty. Because I am lazy when I am prostrated, when I am without energy, and I haven't fulfilled the duty. Or I am tired, or I am resting, or I am sleeping in place of something I should be doing. They don't have that. They shouldn't be doing anything. Never. Then, when I have respect, or I am disrespectful, it means that I am lacking fear towards someone I should have fear of. And so it's another duty. So both laziness and respect are two flaws in my duties. So what's the point here coming from all this digression? Is simply the following. When we are dealing with our own inner dispositions, which is what is about being contemplative, that's what about any healthy behavior goes about after all, we can always do it with two distinct, different intentions. So you can see someone jogging or training or meditating or practicing yoga, whatever you like. They can be doing it with two main different intention stems. He can be one, supposing he has a duty. I do it supposing I have a duty to improve or to carry within myself good or pretty feelings or thoughts. So if I have an ugly one, an ugly thought, an ugly feeling, then I am supposed to improve. It is my duty not to carry these feelings in my heart. Then the second possibility is we allow ourselves to have no duty to improve, nor to present any kinds of feelings or thoughts. There is no duty. It's the difference between you have a snorkel and a mask and you dive in the ocean. So you go down in the ocean and you try to remove a rusty anchor. You think it's not supposed to be there. That's one thing. Another thing is just to dive and look and see a rusty anchor. Recognize it as part of the landscape. And look at the landscape and appreciate the landscape. And that is the mindful way of doing things. Not saying that the anchor shouldn't be there. No, it is there. That's it, point, period. There's no duty involved. We have no duties toward what we feel within ourselves. We just feel what we feel. We feel fear, we feel laziness. Respect and tiredness are two concepts that sprout from the idea of a duty. Now, it's very bad to have duties toward what I feel, not duties toward myself, duties to what I feel within myself. Respect is a duty, fear is not. Laziness is the infringement of a duty, exhaustion is not. So, when we look at ourselves, we deal with ourselves, and usually duties and idealizations, they are adjectivable. You can use an adjective. You can qualify them. You can judge them. Whereas what is called for in mindfulness and in other contemplative practices is just look and allow things to be what they are. This is nothing to do with allowing the world to be what it is, or a bad president or a bad governor has a rotten administration. I have to just keep quiet and let it be. No. That's different. I do have a duty toward the administration of my country. I do have a duty toward the administration of my municipality or the kind of people I let get in there. And we in Brazil, we are experiencing that on our skin, within our flesh. The latest unfoldings we have had in our social and political life the few last years. But what we would like to keep very clear and very crystalline here, pristine, is that you don't need to worry about whatever comes to your mind. Now realize something. There's something else that has to be very well cut out. Because someday I practice, so I just sit down and I start practicing, and then I see the face of that fellow who really annoyed me the other day. Man, I can live without seeing that guy ever again. Really. That doesn't mean I'm going to allow myself to pick a stone, pick up a rock, and blow his head with it. No. I have a duty. Yes, I have a duty not to kill, not to be hazardous, not to be harmful. We can make these votes, we can have these decisions, subjective decisions. What we cannot do to commit ourselves to only having good feelings. If that guy harmed me, if he wronged me, I am justified in feeling how the way I feel. The point is, I'm not going to let that turn into something serious. I'm not going to let that turn into something concrete. That's just a feeling. But in order to be able to put this ethical covering over this feeling, I first need to admit the feeling exists. So if I want to do something about the anchor in the bottom, coming back to our example of the diving, if I want to do something with that rusty anchor, then first I have to admit it's a rusty anchor. It's not a capricious stone. It's not a cute little thing. It's something that shouldn't be there. That anchor should not have been abandoned there. Yes, of course. And if you're worried with biology, that might be interesting to take out. But anyway, the point is that when you are leaning over your own inner disposition, you must be able to give yourself sufficient spaciousness in order to be free of the plight of having a duty within your inner world. No, that's not how your inner world works. And it's about spaciousness. It's about freedom. And you will only feel spacious if you're able to put aside for a while your duties and really dedicate yourself to your own well-being, welfare, and seeking a more ethical way of living. Notice, we are making here a distinction between ethics and duty, because there's a difference between ethics and morals. We might come back to that some other moment in a future video. By the way, we have it here. If you can't wait for the video, you can always buy our book, and it's there. Duty and morals, ethics and morals. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for joining us up to this point. Hope to see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.